Ladies and gentlemen, the Solana ecosystem call. Tonight, Raj Gokal, Solana Monkey Business, Parcel, Hive Mapper, Ironforge, and more. With your host, Kash Donda.
Good evening, everybody. How is it going? Drop a little GM in the chat. Let's get the thing warm here. Yeah, all right, now we're going. If you are watching us right now on Twitter, come on over to the Zoom. I promise you it'll be the best time you have today. The chat is bumping right now, and it's going to give you the best alpha in all of Solana. This is going to be a fun one. Let me start off here with the same way we typically start off, with a little speech, in case people have not come here before. This call has a very specific purpose, and that is to help overcome some of the craziness that is crypto. You might have noticed in crypto, prices go up, they go down. Regulations come and regulations go. Projects start and then projects have to end. Crypto is a crazy place. But there is one thing that always stands up out of all of this craziness, and that is the builders that are Solana, the community of builders that are on this call, the people who are actually creating real value for real people in the real world. That is what Solana is all about. That is what this call is all about. I think we have something like 2,000 people who signed up to come to this call, right? That is 2,000 people who are not scared of the FUD, who are not scared of the bullshit, who are here to see new frontier technologies be developed and help people's lives. So what we're going to do today is not talk about price. We're not going to be talking about, whatever weird financial speculation thing. We're going to be talking about building. This is a call for, about, and by the builders of Solana. And let me tell you this, everything else is noise. Can I get an amen in the chat, please? Can I get an amen as we go through here? All right, nice. Now the vibe is kicking. Okay, cool. Let's get this party started. If you haven't been here before, here is how this is going to work. You have 3 jobs, basically. Your first job is to get active in the chat. Most people are here for the chat. They're not here for me. They're not here for the special guests. They are here for the chat. We'll have this up and be able to go and talk to you all throughout. One critical note, in the chat, it says 2. Make sure you are set to everyone so that everyone can see your chat messages, not just the host and the panelists. Point number 2, ask questions, get answers. You'll see at the bottom of the Zoom tab, there's a little thing that says Q&A. If you click on Q&A, you should be able to ask questions, and then me and the rest of the panelists will be able to answer those at any time throughout the call. And the last thing is, you got to stay until the end, because we always have a few surprises. And then today, we actually have a surprise guest coming on as well towards later on in the call. So it's going to be a fun one. Spam all the degens. Let us get started. This chat is crazy. When you're the first time here, there's nothing like the ecosystem call chat. So again, if you're on Twitter, come join us in Zoom. The link should be somewhere pretty easy to get to. It's going to be fun. Last thing before we officially kick off here, remember, there is a $50 bounty for the best recap thread of everything we cover on the ecosystem call. Kuga has won that a few times. The last person to win made a whole ass magazine out of it, which is crazy. You can go check that out on Twitter as well. It is great. Includes some memes. Let other people know all the good stuff that's going on in the Solana ecosystem right now. Also known as Kuga's favorite bounty, says Ajwal. That's not wrong. $10 extra if you post it on Threads, says Parek. Yeah, maybe we could do that. We'll throw a little Threads bounty on there as well. Okay, we're going to get started with, quite frankly, my favorite section every time. We're going to do wins of the month. So here's what I would recommend. Get that finger, put it right above the W key on your keyboard, because you're about to start spamming it. The chat is already spamming the W key. I haven't even said a win yet. They're just excited about the fact that there are wins. All right, so let's get going here. We're going to split these up into 3 categories today. First, we got a category called doing numbers. And that is because there are some Solana projects doing numbers right now. Number 1, we have the dear homies over at Squats have crossed $700 million in total transaction volume. If you're not using Squads for self-custody, what are you doing? It's safer. It's easier. The UX is beautiful. You can stake right from within there. And Stepan and the team are just goats all around. So there's plenty of W's well-deserved in the chat right now for them. Let's go number 2. Here we have Phoenix crossing $100 million in volume since inception. Previous ecosystem call guest as well. It's a limit order book. CLOP, one of the original innovations of Solana here, that is fully on chain, non-custodial, and crankless, which makes it a lot easier to work with. It keeps it a lot more precise over time. Yeah, big W's here for Jari and the rest of the crew over there. I see Jay from Sujiko is in the building as well. What's going on, Jay? Let's go on next here. I don't know if you guys have seen NFT on activity right now on Solana is booming. Daily NFT transaction count was up 2x over April. That's month over month, 100% increase. I wonder why, says Super Simon. Maybe because of some of the people on this call right now. Nano from Monkeyed Out saying you're welcome. And we all owe, let's do a little thank you for Nano in the chat, and Maurice and Gnome and the rest of the Gen 3 team. Appreciate you, boys and girls, for making that shit happen. Let's go over now. And then the last one here in doing numbers, Faceless is the largest generative PFP collection ever. There's a little, anyone know what this means? OPOS? Has anyone heard that phrase before? Well, if you have, then you know that it means only possible on Solana. There is no other network in the world where people are dropping 350,000 PFP collections like this for free through Drip House. Absolute insanity. Love that. All right. We're going to go on next to some shipments, because let me tell you, people in Solana were busy shipping this past month, right? Let's go number one here. Our friends over at Elusive, former ecosystem call guests as well, have shipped their SDK to mainnet. That means that anybody now can build private payments using ZK into their dApp right here on Solana. You don't need to go to any L2. You don't need to go to any other ecosystem. Privacy is here to stay. We have the Elusive SDK. Shout out to Julian and the rest of the team. Go check that out. Next up, we're number 6. Ironforge is officially launching. Ironforge, a global hackathon winner from 6 months ago, is just the easiest way to get started with Solana Dev. You can use Helios, you can use any other RPC providers as well, plug and play, customize it. It is fantastic. Something that is a little bit less fantastic. Our boy Italo, CEO and founder of Ironforge, unfortunately is in the hospital. He has appendicitis. So he wasn't able to join us today as expected. So I do apologize if you thought you'd see him here. But here's a little bit of alpha only for people on this call right now. If you would like to try out Ironforge, Italo has said that anyone who is on this call is welcome to do it. All you got to do is email technicalpreview@ironforge.com and mention the ecosystem call, and you will get early access. That is his way of saying thank you. Drop a W in the chat for Italo and for Ironforge for doing some of the Lord's work there. I love when the Zoom chat is going so fast I can't even read it. It makes me a little scared we're going to break Zoom, but that's all right. Okay, next on in the shipments, Bonfida has officially released subdomains as well for their SNS. If you want to have multiple identities for specific purposes, you can do that. And a big shout out to Super Team Earn. They listed, this was on their roadmap, they listed it on Super Team Earn as a bounty for someone from the community to come in and build out this functionality. It was done within a week. So go use Super Team Earn, and shout out to Bonfida for being great partners over there as well. W's well deserved for everyone on that team. Next up, Drift has shipped Super Stake Soul. They crossed 100,000 MSOL staked in their first week. Can anyone even get a sense of how insane that is? Absolutely bonkers. Shout out to the Drift team. They're building this kind of stuff in their free time. If you're not staking already, go stake, contribute to the decentralization of the network. You get a nice little APY back as well. It pays to do it. It's good for the ecosystem. Raj will be very happy on this call. I can already see him smiling. So it's a win-win-win. Win-win-win. So drop a little W in the chat for our friends over at Drift for making this stuff happen over here. And then over on the shipment side, the next-gen NFT Launchpad, Metaplex and Tensor, two of the GOATs, have come together to put this up for all creators to make their lives easier and easier. All Tensor does is ship. That's really all they do. And we're going to hear more about their shipping later on, since they kindly came on to replace Ironforge today. So shout out to both teams over there. And then I think the last of the shipping, or the penultimate shipping here, Solana RPC has just got a whole lot better. Our boy Mert has been hard at work. It's now 10x better. If you're not using Helios, what are you doing with your life? Go check them out. Great dashboards are out there as well, and the W's are flowing. People know it. Let's go on to, when do we see Mert's head? Said she. Mert, if you're in the crowd, please do raise your hand so I can bring you up on stage. People want to see your head. apparently that's that is the move right now. And if Mert's not here in the chat, can someone go ping him to join? Tim Wang says time to shave your head. Probably not going to do that, my friend. All right, let's go on next here. The last of the shipment wins. Have you guys heard of this project? I think they might have a future. I think they seem okay. Monkey just lit the entire world on fire, pushed Solana up into #1 for NFT volume for the week. Reject humanity, return to Monkey. That is big facts. We're going to hear from the Gen 3 team in a little bit. So much deserved W for those folks. Okay, lastly, just a few quick community wins before we get on with the rest of the show. Community win #1, the Solana NFT Showdown has concluded. Projects from around the world with NFT communities came together and presented to get mentorship and access to a bunch of goodies from the Solana Foundation. So shout out to them. Go check out the winners right now. The recording is on YouTube, and I believe the winners are recommended on Twitter as well. Let's go over next to the Solana's first ever community run game jam is going on. Speedrun Solana, SolanaSpeedrun.com, is starting in just a few short weeks. Tons of prizes, tons of great things happening, great speakers. Go participate, get ready for that. A lot of good stuff is going to be happening over there. Love to see just the community coming together for hackathons. We saw this last year with Lamport. I'm not sure what's going on in the chat, if Srijani or Dolani, if one of you guys can take care of that nonsense that's happening. We have this organically, just people from the community coming together to produce. This is fantastic. Then here's a big win. I think people might have heard this already, but it bears repeating one more time. Cubic is crushing. Drop a W in the chat for Cubic, for our guys Irfan and Dhruv, super team members, both OG super team members here. 700 contributors on their pilot round with no marketing, with no major push, just looking to help improve public goods funding on Solana. If you have a project on Solana and you want to help sponsor their next round, this was just a taste of what is to come. They're looking to 10x the next round, so reach out to them on Twitter. I think Irfan and Dhruv are in the call right now. They can also help you if you just DM them right now as well. And then the final win of the month, Super Team GDP has crossed $2 million. Super Team is, of course, kind of guided by this North Star metric of community GDP. How many earning opportunities are being created by Super Team members for other Super Team members? 500 bounties and grants we've done so far. And we've just launched Nigeria. Shout out to Nzube on this call. We just launched UAE. Shout out to Alex Scott also on this call. And the UK. Shout out to Cap on this call. So the fun is just beginning. Can I get a little GDP in the chat, please? Can I get a little GDP? There we go. Raksha says to play it. We will maybe have fun, maybe do a live GDP in a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Times are moving right now. All right, that is it for wins of the month. Tell me, what did we miss? Anything else that we should celebrate? Drop that into the chat right now so I can give it a shout out. Give me more. People want more wins. What else have people been up to here? Let's see. Soul Faucet has officially launched. So if you want free Soul, if you're a new user, you're onboarding someone new, you can send them to the site. They will get Soul for free so they can do their first few transactions. Huge win. Shout out to Citation, to Vampo and the gang for building that. Let's see what else. BR1 Signup won the CoinDesk Hackathon. Shout out to Signup if you haven't checked them out. Beautiful design. Get to know your users. Soulblaze Airdrop. We're going to come back to that, my friend. I'll tell you that much. And a bunch of others here. Okay, non-linear investing is now live with Streamflow as well, which is crazy. You can see in the chat right now, there's too many wins. We don't have time to go over them all because Solana stays winning. And that's the big facts right now. All right, let's continue on to the next section here, which is the state of Solana. I still think we're waiting for Mert, if I'm not mistaken. So if everyone, just go on Twitter and tag Mert, get him onto this call right now. I'm not sure where he's at. Okay, state of Solana, a few things to share really quickly. First, we have the metrics minute, some of the big numbers that matter for the Solana network. Wanted to share these with people to let people know what's going on. So Solana TVL up to 273. You can help make that number grow if you also do some liquid staking with Jito or Soulblaze or anybody else, and then use that in DeFi. Number two, non-voting transactions up 4% month on month. Pretty fantastic. NFTs minted up 52%, which is just beyond bananas. And this was the number that I was most surprised by. 320,000 unique stakers on the Solana network. People talk about decentralization. That smells a lot like decentralization to me, as do the nearly 1,900 validators that we have on the network. So, long story short, the network is going strong. With that said, I want to bring up somebody else to the stage now to talk a little bit about the state of Solana in a particular area. And that is, well, let's do it like this, the state of RWA on Solana, real world assets. There's a lot of big narratives for Solana right now. We have DePIN, we have compressed NFTs, we got a DeFi revival going on right now. But RWA, part of DeFi, is I think one of the least appreciated of these. And so I'm thrilled to bring to the stage right now. Drop a little GM in the chat from my friend Will from Parcel, who's going to tell us a little bit about the latest happenings in the RWA world. Will, what is going on?
Thanks, Cash. Really glad to be here. Extremely excited to discuss RWAs, or real world assets, and really the potential that we see with Solana here. There are a few great projects already building in this space currently, which we definitely want to highlight, as well as discuss how Parcel is approaching this and share some info on exciting upcoming launches for the trading platform. So to dive in here, there is this massive opportunity all around for RWAs, being a major use case to onboard the next billion users to blockchain. RWAs, for those who don't know, is really a broad categorization for blockchain-based tokens that represent physical or traditional financial assets, real estate, credit, loans, fine art, equity. All of these could be tokenized as RWAs. And given the scale, if blockchains can disrupt even a small percentage of those markets, it'll be a massive breakthrough for adoption and has the potential to systematically improve global economies. Citi earlier this year published a report stating that RWAs and real estate on chain in particular could become a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity as early as 2030. Just really given this vast scale of each of these markets individually. So big opportunity here. And RWAs present a few extremely compelling benefits to these TradFi markets, primarily focused around things like increased efficiency, transparency, improving liquidity to traditionally illiquid markets, as well as built-in compliance. But the one I want to focus on is the general reduction in costs through removing these intermediaries. For example, a typical real estate transaction costs up to 6% of the home value in various fees and admin costs. So this brings me to our next bullet as to why we see such an opportunity for RWAs to exist on Solana in particular. While EVM may have a head start in terms of capital, Solana's fast execution times, low transaction costs, and high throughput make it truly an efficient infrastructure to build upon. And then things like FireDancer, there should be a huge improvement in validation that uniquely benefits RWAs on chain, bridging that gap between these decentralized exchanges and their centralized counterparts. As I mentioned before, there are a few great projects already building to bring these assets on chain with Solana. CredX is focused on emerging markets, supplying credit to people who wouldn't normally have access to credit, packaging asset-backed loans, and selling them through traditional financial institutions. Also in the world of real estate, our friends at Homebase DAO are taking physical houses and tokenizing the equity, with their second home actually just recently being listed, which is really exciting. And it's incredible to build alongside these other projects paving the way on Solana, but there is definitely still such a massive opportunity for other projects to be part of this next wave of DeFi. Now, as for Parcel, which is a decentralized real estate trading platform that allows you to get exposure to entire cities through a price index. By doing this, Parcel is effectively creating a spot market for real estate as a whole. Parcel Labs, a subsidiary, does this by collecting sales and listings data, about 10 million data points that update daily, to produce an index price that represents the median price per square foot of that given area. This allows traders to get market exposure to millions of real world properties in a very efficient and scalable manner, made possible on Solana. And so if you want to go long or short a specific city, you can place that trade directly on Parcel. This concept of global real estate economy is starting in the United States, with most major cities actually already available to trade on Parcel today. And the plan is to then scale this internationally, which actually brings me to our exciting announcement today that Paris will be our first international city that's going to be offered on Parcel, and that will be live next week. So you can check out Parcel at app.parcel.co and start getting real estate exposure in just a few seconds. And keep an eye out, because we have a few more international markets that are going to be released over the next few months to really create this idea of global real estate investing.
Absolutely crazy stuff. 10 million data points, a multi-trillion-dollar industry, trillion with a T, folks. That's no joke. And international expansion from Parcel right now. I can already see in the chat, people are fighting about whether to go long or short on Paris. So we'll find out what ends up happening there. But
Yeah,
Will,
place your
thank you
trades.
so much. It's going to get crazy. I see some demands for London to get on there as well, and some more things as some other countries, Dubai and many others. So shout out to Parcel and everyone else building in RWA. If you want to get more involved in this, go check out Parcel, go check out Credix, Bridge Split, Homebase, and all these other great projects, and get a taste of where the future is going to go. This is the future, folks. Touch it now. Be early. It feels much better that way. All right. So shout out to Will. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Cash.
Bangalore, please. People are saying as well. Appreciate you, my guy. Let's continue on with some good times here. Well, actually, a quick note. If you're just joining us now, whether you're on Twitter or on Zoom, well, first of all, if you're on Twitter, come on over to the Zoom. It's a great time. You'll get to see the chat as well. We are going to be doing a Breakpoint ticket giveaway. You got to stay until the end in order to be eligible. It's going to be pretty simple. You get a POAP, which is a free POAP. You don't even have to pay gas. You tweet a screenshot of that POAP in your wallet, and you tag Slorg of the Slugs. I promise the man is brilliant. He's going to be evaluating the best people who want to come to Breakpoint. So tag him, tell him why you want to come, and then one lucky winner will get a free $1,000 ticket to Breakpoint, which is just incredible. Listen to Solana Legend. He said it's wonderful. If the legend says it's wonderful, you know that it is. So shout out to him. Stay until the end for that. But next up, we are going to move to our very special guest today. This is a man that really doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to give him an introduction anyway, because it's my show and I get to do what I want. This is the guy without whom we would not be here right now. He's the co-founder of Solana itself. He lives and breathes Solana 24/7. And on top of that, he knows how to wear the hell out of a hat. Please drop a little GM in the chat for our dear friend, Mr. Raj Gokal. Raj, how's it going?
Hey, Cash. It's going well. So awesome to be here. This is my first super team community call. So thanks so much for having me.
Wouldn't have had it any other way, Raj. And I heard that today, the goal is we have a little bit of a wish list on your end, of some things you'd love to see the community kind of rise up and help do to build out the network.
Yeah, and first I just want to say, thanks again, but also I just want to say how inspiring and wonderful it is to see such warm and welcoming energy from yourself, Cash. I think if everybody can give Cash a W in the chat, just your personality, your tone, your welcoming, warm energy, and the way that you bring people together is so representative of what I've always wanted to see, as the heart and soul of the Solana community. And so thank you. And thanks to everyone in Super Team, and thanks to everybody on the call and in the chat. This is the thing that can't be bought in a community, and that most communities would die and kill for. And we have it, and I think it's the sacred flame. And just to
make a brown man blush over here, Raj. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say.
And I just want to add that great communities are forged in the darkest times. And we launched Solana in 2020, right as the pandemic was becoming, not just an idea, but something that was clearly going to result in lockdowns and travel restrictions and masks. And it was all happening so fast. And everyone in the investor community was calling all of their portfolio companies saying, freeze your launches, don't put anything out there, do layoffs, stop what you're doing, focus on survival, and for God's sake, don't do anything risky. The economy is about to melt down. Don't take any big swings right now. It's the time to be safe. And when we launched the network, it was 3 days after Black Thursday, which was the biggest dollar denominated drop in the stock market value in history. Nobody was launching anything. And our thesis was, if we can build the community now, the people that show up now are going to be the most high conviction, most pure, warriors for this network. This is exactly the time we want to launch. This is exactly when we want to start building our community. And I think right now is another one of those times. So, Cash, you mentioned at the top of the call, prices are volatile. Your cousins at family dinners are saying, why are you still in crypto? This is exactly another dark time when the world is against us. And this is when the strongest communities are built. So my ideas, I think the things that I want to focus on are largely like, what do we focus on as a community, and where do we show our strength? And so, I asked the team, I asked a bunch of folks to kind of give me a sense of like, where is the community best focused? What are the things that we want to see? So many ideas came back. I think just want to call out some of the runners up. Creating content is, it's a lifeblood of a community. If we're not showing up, if we're not sharing ideas, if we're not challenging each other's ideas on social media, then we're not really operating as a collective, and we're not focusing our energies and figuring out what's important. So creating content about applications you love, about ways to grow the community, about creating content itself. These are all really valuable things, and I think Super Team community members have been doing that in spades. So that's not one of the ideas that I want to highlight. I think the ideas that I want to highlight are, we've gotten to a point now where there are so many product launches. We just saw Parcel. We've heard about Dialect and so many other products that are launching every week. I think what I'd love to see from the community is, how do you focus on what are the new product launches that come out every week? Which are the ones that need the most user feedback, and how do we focus and systematize that user feedback as fast as possible? So one idea is sort of product hunt for Solana, or another way to think about it would be the user feedback machine. As a builder, how do I get my first 1,000 to 10,000 users? And how are those users incentivized to provide the highest quality feedback, not just with a focus on collecting an airdrop or being early to the network and becoming an inactive account, but really bringing quality structured feedback to the product owner for that product, to improve the experience so that the next 100,000 or million users are seeing that much less friction. And I would say everyone on this call has heard the acronym OPOS, only possible on Solana. But the more that we focus that feedback on the value proposition of the products that is only possible with Solana's unit economics, using things like compressed NFTs, or use cases that are only possible with Solana's cost structure and throughput, like decentralized physical infrastructure networks, the better. So that's sort of idea number one is, the user feedback machine for the first 1,000 to 10,000 users. And apologies, I didn't give Cash some slides beforehand to make this a little more digestible. And thanks, Cash, for making them on the fly. Second thing is staking to liquid SOL. So we heard about super staking earlier, super staked SOL. There's also Jito SOL and M SOL from Marinade. We on the Solana network are seeing a lower percentage-wise participation rate in DeFi from SOL holders than, let's say, the Ethereum network is. And why this is important is, staking SOL is critical to the network, as you all know. You want to stake your SOL, put it at risk, and economically secure the network. But also participating in DeFi is critical, because this is a pillar of a use case, and it's a use case that is kind of fundamental to why blockchains exist, and it is a layer that kind of benefits all the rest of the use cases on Solana and other blockchain networks. So what we want to see is more participation in DeFi with liquid stake SOL. As individuals, and as organizations that you're a part of, any SOL that you have, you should consider putting it into one of these liquid staking alternatives. But also, I think the big idea here is, what do we do as a community and as a network to incentivize and pressure large SOL holders to participate in liquid stake SOL? Is there an initiative? Is there a meme? Is there, a phone tree? When we start to see these calls and these groups go from a few hundred to a few thousand to 10,000 plus, especially in those dark times in the bear market when most people have left, your voice is so powerful. So how do we use that voice to make liquid stake SOL participation go through the roof? And how do we pick the right time to do that? I think the time is now. Mm-hmm. So third thing, I'll keep this one short because I know I'm taking a bunch of time. It's replicating your social graph on chain. So and when I say that, I don't mean go launch a new social network, go create something like Gum or Dialect. What I'm saying is everyone on this call, who cares about mass adoption for Solana, are you using Dialect already? And I would say that the quick thing to do there is, if you have your favorite Telegram group, go convert it into a Dialect group. Recruit everyone over, find the incentive, find the hook, find the reason that people should care about moving to Dialect. And then, you can go back to the first bullet, right? What's the feedback for the Dialect team to make that experience and all the things that you were doing on Telegram really benefit from being on chain and be, as easy and low friction, and serve the same value propositions for why your group is on Telegram. And, I would say doing that all at once and with a very specific goal of driving on-chain usage and participating in these networks and getting them past their first 10,000 or 100,000 users is critical. I think social use cases in this bear market are going to be some of the ones that we'll be really, really happy we forged and iterated on as we go into the next market cycle. So those are the three ideas.
Absolutely love it here. These are crystal clear. And I think everyone listening on this call right now can do all three of these, right? These are easy to do, low-hanging fruit. You can give feedback through Beans List, through Alpha Squad, which something the super team's been working on, as well as a number of other kind of avenues there. Solarplex is another great one you can use. Give feedback to your projects, stake the SOL, convince people to stake SOL, and replicate that social graph on chain. Raj, this was killer. I think this is something that we can all take away. Thank you so much for coming out, and thanks for all the hard work that you do on making this entire ecosystem survive here.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Appreciate you. Drop a little W in the chat for Raj. I also want to say this started off as like a little Zoom call that we just kind of did with some ecosystem friends. And now here we are with Raj on the call as well. Feels pretty good, man. Feels good, man.jpg, I will say. All right, next up, we're going to keep on moving here. We have actually been rugged for the first time on this call. So everyone on Twitter, just go tag Mert and tell him to go shave his head in response for rugging us today. So we're going to keep on moving on. And here we are going to go and do one of the favorite parts of this whole call every time. The vibes are right now. People are feeling good about Solana. Let's pass on some of that positivity here. We're going to do a little Twitter raid. So this will take just a second. But everybody, if you can just scan this QR code right now, it's going to take you directly to Tron's Twitter account. The guy does fantastic dev tutorials, and he's just got a few hundred followers, and he really deserves much more of a spotlight. He's been a longtime Super Team Vietnam member, and he's overall just doing excellent work for Solana out in Asia. Throw him a little love on Twitter. If you just scan this QR code and write "more tutorials, please" on the reply, he's going to wake up feeling pretty good. Last time we did this, I think the guy woke up to 150 texts, which was like more followers than he had at the time. And it's just a nice way for us to all feel a little warm and fuzzy and pass along some of the love. BK World already following. That's because BK World is on top of the game, you know. But he's a goat for real, as Tony from Underdog says. Shout out to Tony. So go give him a follow. You won't regret it. You'll make somebody's day. Do a nice little thing. It feels good right down here in the cockles of your heart here. To our surprise special guest, let me tell you, I'm in San Diego right now, just like 2 miles away from Solana Beach, where this all kind of started off. And I got a call at 4:30 in the morning saying, hey, we got a surprise guest. And I said, this guest could have come on with 30 seconds notice and we would have welcomed him with open arms. You know him, you love him. It is the one and only Mr. Balaji Srinivasan. Balaji, how you doing, my friend?
Good. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear with the professional audio setup. You sound like Ryan Seacrest himself.
Well, you also have a voice for radio and a face for TV. So that's a compliment. So Casey Kasem, that's probably an old reference for those who don't know. Cashy Cashem. All righty. So before I go to the next slide, let me just kind of say hi to everybody here. Let me explain what's going on. And my request is that you just not tweet what I'm about to show you, because it's I kind of want you to click on it and tell me if it works or whatever before we tweet it out, okay? But let me explain what you're going to see. So actually almost a year and a day ago, I published this book called The Network State, which many of you have heard of. And over the last year, we've had a ton of traction with startup societies and network states. There was a pop-up network state called Zuzulu that Vitalik did a few months ago. I've got a network state dashboard with dozens of these startup societies around the world. And now we're going to take the next step. And I do believe, and I've spoken to Akshay about this and several other people, and I think there's starting to be consensus around this. I do believe that startup communities are going to be a big part of the next narrative. Sure, DeFi is great, NFTs are great, all this stuff is great, all this stuff will continue to compound from the last time. But what are we using it for? Not simply trading JPEGs online, as great as that is, but actually doing things in the real world. And so I'm going to be announcing, so if you go to the next slide. There we go. Yeah, okay, so the network state meetups. So what is this? So basically, if you go to lu.ma/the network state, okay? So in the top left, where there's the number one, that's where you type in, obviously, the URL, okay? And then what is this set of meetups for? It's basically for people who want to use crypto in the real world. Do you want to found, fund, or find a new community? For example, there's car-free societies that I funded. There's also societies with van life, where you live in your van off of Starlink and you save money. There are societies that are built on islands like Prospera, and there's societies that are literally building floating platforms like Oceanics. And all of this crazy future stuff is happening now with these sort of opt-in startup communities. And if you want to hear about this, if you want to, not just do crypto in the cloud, but actually do things on the land, go to lou.ma/the network state, sign up to attend the biweekly live stream. So you see the number 2 on the page. That's the network state biweekly live stream. Go and sign up for that. First one will be in a couple of weeks. I might change the time, but I'll make sure it's compatible with the Solana stream, so it doesn't overlap with it. Probably like 30 minutes before or something like that. Number 3, if you want to host an event, okay, if you're in Turkey, if you're in Mexico, if you're in Japan, if you're in England, Nigeria, wherever, India, of course, then where the number 3 is on screen, click there and you click submit event and I'll review the events. Okay. Australia. Yep. And then number 4, if you're going to be in Singapore for Token 2049 in about 10 weeks, we're holding the second annual, actually, Network State Conference 2023, the first public one. And that'll promise to be awesome. You're going to basically meet all the people who are founding these new communities and startup societies around the world. If you want to know what crypto looks like, quote, in the real world, this is actually a different and complementary definition. I'm happy, the previous definition in terms of crypto in the real world being like real world assets. This is like real world societies. Okay. Mm-hmm. So my request is don't tweet this yet, but go to lou.ma/the network state, sign up to attend events, optionally apply to host events, and then sign up for the conference. You can DM me on Twitter for details. And by the way, I'll set up all the Solana integration stuff and so on the page. Just haven't done that yet. That's one of the reasons I don't want to tweet it out. All right. So if any questions, go ahead and DM me and just go to lou.ma/the network state and sign up. Okay, thanks.
Thanks so much, Balaji. Solana going to be powering the NFTs that help kind of create the boundaries of this community as well. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So, basically, people think of NFTs as being very expensive art pieces, and that's what the general public thinks about NFTs if you think about them at all right now. But thanks to Solana compressed NFTs, you can now just blast events on chain, and we can hand out NFTs as easily as we can hand out likes and retweets and follows and so on and so forth. And in fact, that's the right analogy. All of those social interactions which are online are going to be going on chain. And so all the attendees of these live streams, of these meetups, will receive Solana NFTs. And that's exactly how we define the community itself. So if you have 10 NFTs for attending 10 meetups, like a proof of attendance, then you can log into services that the community has built. And somebody might set a threshold of you have to attend 15 meetups to log into the service. But the point is, it's a very lightweight way of literally defining a community in a decentralized manner, and then people can build applications and so on top of them.
Love to see it. Solana powering DePIN, compressed NFTs, real world assets, and now startup societies as well. Real value for real people in the real world is where we're heading, folks. Balaji, thanks so much for coming on and sharing this opportunity with people. Again, please do not tweet about it just yet, but go check out the link. More details to come in the future. This is what we call alpha, folks. That smells like alpha. Love to see it. Big things coming out of here. Appreciate you, Balaji. All right. For the sake of time, we're going to continue moving on right now. We're going to move into the Alpha Drops section, where we get to hear from some of the best projects on Solana doing the most innovative things. And this next project has kind of taken the world by storm, if we're being honest. There's not a lot of startups that can say that they are out competing Google at their own kind of game. But today we have one of those indeed. Please drop a little GM in the chat for Ariel from HiveMapper, coming to tell us about everything that they've been shipping recently. Looking great in his suit as well, I might say, Ariel. You might have to buy this suit over time. Can you tell the folks a little bit about HiveMapper as well as what you've built recently?
Hello. Thanks for having me, guys. This is a lot of fun. Can you guys hear me okay? I don't know if the video is working and everything like that. So
video is nice. The voice is feeling smooth. Let's run it.
Let's do it. So very simply, we're trying to build a global map of the world that is far fresher and has significantly more coverage than Google Maps. In parts of the world that are just really not cost effective for Google to go cover the way that they historically have gotten covered those areas. We can talk more about that in terms of the cost of mapping, which is a big part of our advantages relative to those that are like Google. All right, so how does it work? It works very simply. There's two ways you can contribute to it. You can buy a dash cam, put that dash cam into your car, and then just drive like you normally would, right? We're not asking you to go and like drive in very specific parts of the city or the world or the country or we're just really asking you to just drive like you normally would. That's number one way to contribute. The new way to contribute that we just kind of really introduced over the last 3 or 4 months is what we refer to as the Map AI trainers. So for this, you don't need a dash cam. You can be anywhere in the world. All you need is a computer or a smartphone. And really what you're doing here is training the Map AI that then takes that imagery from the dash cam and converts it or transforms it into actual map data. And so, for example, we would say, hey, is this a 35 mile per hour speed limit sign? Our AI has determined or believes that this is a 35 mile per hour speed sign. Please confirm that or tell us it's not. And so there's all these little games that you can play. Some of them are quite fun and quite challenging. Some of them are just kind of mindless, easy. You have an extra 5 minutes on the bus or you're kind of bored or whatever, and you can kind of click through. And for both of those, you're earning honey, whether you're driving around with the dash cam or whether you're playing the Map AI trainers, you're effectively earning honey, which is our kind of native token. I shouldn't say native, it's our token, which is a Solana-based token. Okay, so that's on the contributor side. And then on the customer side, we're not focused on the consumer use case. In other words, like you all use Google Maps in your daily lives or Apple Maps. Really, that's not our focus. Our focus is on enabling businesses, right? So if you never use Google Maps and you said, hey, I hate it, I don't like it, I don't like the fact that they're taking all my location data. What you could do, sorry, let me back up. So if you never used any of that and you just said, okay, I'm off with Google Maps, whether you realize it or not, you're using Google Maps throughout your week, right? You go to an insurance website, you're probably interacting with Google Maps APIs. You go to Uber, you're using Google Maps. You go to Yelp, you're using Google Maps. You go to Airbnb, you're using Google Maps, and so on and so on. There's about 4 million businesses that pay Google Maps to integrate a whole host of mapping APIs into their products. And so that's our primary market that we're really going after. The other big market, which is a little bit more nascent, is around the car manufacturers and things like level 1, level 2, and ultimately level 3 and level 4 autonomy, right? And so for those use cases, they need incredibly fresh maps and they need incredibly detailed maps. So that's a little bit about us. The map is now at roughly 3.5 million unique road kilometers mapped all over the world. The fun thing about maps is they never cease to be updated, right? Maybe say that a little bit differently. They constantly have to be updated, right? The world is just constantly changing. And so even if you go map all of LA, last month, you're going to have to go and update that. Certain parts of LA, you're going to want to map more frequently, and some parts that maybe change a little bit less frequently. Okay, so that's a little bit about how it works. There's what we're about to ship is the HiveMapper Dashcam S. So we have 2 different dashcam models. There's one that is shipping today. You can go to the website and buy it, which is the original HiveMapper Dashcam. It's a great dashcam. And then there's a HiveMapper Dashcam S, which is a little bit pricier, has a lot of additional bells and whistles. And there's about, I think last month we shipped about 40 or 50 of them. And really now in July, we're going to start to aggressively move up into production scale, shipping out thousands of orders. So that's a little bit about HiveMapper, what we're doing, how it all works. Happy to kind of talk a little bit more about that if you want, Cash.
Appreciate it, Ariel. I mean, I might be mistaken. Did you talk about having a business that generates real revenue by creating real value for other businesses in crypto? You're going to have revenue for yes. I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't think, we don't do that here, as Srinivasan says in the chat. But big shout out to HiveMapper for actually building the future here in a large way. Go check them out. Grab a dash cam if you're a driver and stay up to date with them on Twitter and everywhere else. Ariel, thanks for coming out here. We're running a little bit behind time, so we'll jump on to the next group. And the next group, this has been a call that never needs any introductions, really. He is the most recurring guest on the ecosystem call. He is the Steve Martin, the Alec Baldwin version on here. Drop a little monkey into the chat for Gnome and Nano from the Gen 3 team here to tell us about MonkeyDAO's latest. No, Nano, how you guys doing?
Hey, Cash, thank you for having us and appreciate all of the super team members and everyone tuning into the ecosystem call today. For anybody who isn't familiar with MonkeyDAO, we've been around for the past 2 years, focusing on how we can help support the Solana ecosystem, whether that's just being through providing volume in the NFT ecosystem, providing grants on behalf of our partnership with the Solana Foundation, performing venture investing, being general community advocates, or just creating adorable little monkeys for yourself. And I'm super happy to have Nano here with me from the Gen 3 team, as well as a ton of Monkey members hanging out in the chat. So thank you all for letting us be here. What we're really happy about is what we just completed with the Gen 3 mint. MonkeyDAO has been in a long process of being one of the first DAOs to actually acquire the IP from its original creators, alongside our friends like the Galactic Geckos. And what we're excited about is welcoming a ton of different people into the Monkey ecosystem and making it a little bit easier for everybody to be part of what I think is the best community on Solana. I'm actually going to let Nano speak on what the Gen 3 mint means, and as well as, all of the amazing things that I think we've accomplished over the past couple of weeks, but also in the last 8 months that they've been working on this.
Yeah, thank you, Nom. Hello, Cash. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing great. I'd just like to start by briefly calling back to what Raj was saying about the dark times in crypto and projects or communities with high conviction. And you can't get much higher conviction than MonkeyDAO. So, people are telling us now's a terrible time to launch an NFT project. You should postpone. There's no money in the ecosystem. Users aren't active right now. I think we can pretty safely say that we proved that wrong over this last week. We're on Solana, we've always have been, and we're here to stay, and we're really happy with how things have been going. So Solana Monkey Business Gen 3, it's been in development for about 9 months now. We started working on it even before MonkeyDAO even acquired the SMB brand. So we knew what we wanted. We knew what the next stage of SMB should look like, what an expansion of MonkeyDAO should look like. And so we started building, and now after a lot of work and a lot of community feedback and consultation, we're here today with the Gen 3 collection officially revealing tomorrow. So it's been a hell of a journey, but we're really excited about expanding our community with a lot of new members. And I'll just talk a bit about a few of these things on the slide. So the generator, if anyone hasn't seen that yet, so this is born out of an internal tool that I wrote to generate traits for the Gen 3 collection. And we decided to tweak it a bit and make it available publicly, and people have absolutely loved it. So you can mix and match whatever traits you want that we've already released publicly to make your perfect monkey. So these aren't NFTs, these are just previews of what Gen 3s could look like in the final collection. And so far we've had people create 200,000 unique monkeys through this. People love doing it. There's 35 million possible combinations that you could create. So there's a lot to go. Keep going, guys. But we've actually got a competition on right now that ends in about an hour. So if you tweet out a monkey you've generated, you can win an SMB barrel at the moment. So Simon, if you want to drop that generator link, people can jump in, they can tweet, and then you'll be in the running. Then the public raffle. So we had 4,000 SMB barrels available publicly. And we were doing our best to make sure that we would get 4,000 tickets sold. And I think we can safely say we beat that. And we sold 79,265 tickets within 24 hours. And so that was 1.58 million SOL, or about 31 million USD worth of volume for those tickets. And then 75,000 of those were, of the non-winning tickets, they were all refunded. And so we're all about fairness for our release. We wanted to make sure that publicly, anyone that wants to get into the DAO has a fair chance of doing so. And like the stats were really interesting coming out of this. There's, on the unlucky side, there was one person that went 0 wins for 83 tickets. And then on the other side, you got a lot of positive stories of people getting, like, winning 1 for 1 ticket. And like, that's really what we want, that everyone has the chance to get involved. And then we've got the reveal. So tomorrow, it's going to be live. You can break your barrel to release your monkey, which means that you burn an SMB barrel NFT to mint an SMB Gen 3 NFT. And we're really proud of these, and we can't wait to see people opening them, sharing them all around Twitter and Discord. And the last thing we've got on this slide is DAO Votes. This is an open source on-chain NFT-based governance platform that we've just started testing on mainnet this week. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll be releasing a lot more info about that. And on a personal note, I'll be at the Berlin Hacker House next month. So feel free to come say hi to me. Tell me what you're doing, and yeah, love to be part of the ecosystem.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nano. I love the fact that you guys are not only kind of innovating, bringing the energy back, but just doing it the right way every single step of the way as well. If you got some other questions for Nano and Noam and the rest of the team, pop them into the Q&A. But right now we're going to keep going because I know we're a little bit over time. And so we're going to go to our final guest. We have one last thing after this guest, so stick around afterwards. But we have, one of the hottest projects in all of Solana, certainly the fastest project and already the fastest chain. We have these guys, they just don't stop shipping. They ship whether it's Christmas, it might be New Year's, it could be Valentine's Day, does not matter. These guys are putting some things up. He's from Google, says Rishi, apparently. Drop a little GM in the chat for our boy, Richard from Tensor.
Hello, GM guys. Thanks for having me on again, Cash. Really excited to share a bit more about Tensor, specifically our NFT collection coming up. So I don't know if you've been sleeping under a rock or something. We basically announced that season 2 is ending for Tensor, and we're doing this NFT collection, the Tensorians. What's unique about Tensorians is that beyond just, an NFT collection we're doing to, generate a bunch of hype and have, a community of maybe 10,000 degens all together in the same room, it is really sort of the representation of our philosophy that there are certain things that can only be done on Solana, only possible on Solana. And we want to push that narrative both as a community of like Solana degens, as well as a platform that is the #1 marketplace on Solana. So obviously we've done a lot of things for the first time on Solana, like launching a compressed NFT marketplace and enabling trading for, Drip, which, essentially drops hundreds of thousands of NFTs every single week. Faceless, as you mentioned early on in the call, that can be traded entirely on Tensor. You can sweep 200 of them at the same time. Put up a bid for 1,000. And we want to continue double downing on sort of the experience that Solana unlocks. It's the ability to essentially bring like Web2 economics of buying NFT, Web2 economics of like buying anything for a fraction of a penny without paying, insane gas fees or paying, thousands of dollars just to mint 100,000 NFTs. So I think like everyone here is looking for that alpha drop, and I think I can share a bit about the collection. So one thing that is important is that you want to keep the number 4 in mind. 4 is a pretty special number in this collection. There may be 4 of some interesting thing that you might want to over-index on. The other thing is, unlike a lot of other NFT collections that came before us, launched during the bull run, we think about an NFT collection for Tensor very differently. We want to make it a first-class, almost like property first-class asset of the platform. So it's going to be heavily integrated into Tensor. If you're a Tensor user or if you trade NFTs, you probably want to join Tensorians. I think you'll get a ton of benefits out of it from just having a Tensorian and repping it on our platform. Finally, we basically said this very early on, but there will be 0 whitelists and 0 pre-sales. So we're not gonna, sell out and, give 4,000 of these away to the highest bidder. We want to reward everyone who has been using Tensor since day one as much as possible. That being said, there are other ways to win. Even if you don't have a ton of Tensor points, if we see that you're actively engaging with us on Twitter, on the new app Threads, we might be giving away a couple of Tensorians, and you want to be engaged and be ready to snap at those opportunities, because they will come, and it will come by. It will be like it'll hit you like a bus. So I think our goal here is to bring back Solana Summer and hopefully kick off 2023 with a bang.
Fantastic. Everyone, that smell you have in your nostrils right now, that is alpha. It's cryptic alpha, I will say, but Rich has always been a showman, which we love to see. I love Tensor. I use it. I have 100% loyalty on Tensor. Please remember that when you're giving away the Tensorians, Richard. It is just a fantastic platform, and they're doing fantastic things. So please drop a W in the chat for some of the fastest shippers on Solana, which is saying something, because we ship pretty fast out here. All right, folks, we're going to go very quickly through the end. I appreciate everyone staying a little late, but hopefully you feel it's worth it. Certainly after this next slide, you're going to, because we have some upcoming airdrops that I want people to know about, so that if you're on this call, you can earn them yourselves here. Here is the list. Obviously, people know about MarginFi, or hopefully you know about MarginFi's point system. Go use their borrow lend, earn points on their DApp. Cypher Protocol also has an airdrop coming up if you deposit liquidity into their pools. Soulblaze, shout out to them on this call right now as well. You can stake Soul with them to get their using Blaze Stake. Your Feed, which is a super fun NFT kind of AR augmented reality filter that you can use with any NFTs that you actually own. Definitely go check them out. Tensor, we just heard from, and we know ISC is airdropping governance tokens to anyone that holds their ISC Flatcoin, which is actually an idea inspired by Mr. Balaji Srinivasan. So go check out ISC. They use a basket of goods rather than any particular fiat currency to remain stable. All domains, the homies, they're going to be doing a .superteam domain as well. They did .bonk, .por, bunch of different stuff. If you use their protocol, you might be eligible for their upcoming airdrop. And of course, the homies over at Dean's List interact with any of their clients. You can find a big list on Twitter. If you interact with their clients, you might be eligible for it as well. And then there's another one here at the bottom, but I don't know what that is. So we're just going to kind of keep on moving on from there. As a reminder, none of this is financial advice. Do your own research, all that kind of good stuff. Please do not sue me and for anything like that. And yeah, maybe if there's enough demand for that last token, we might have to make that happen at some point. Okay. Other quick thing that I want to share, that is upcoming airdrops. But let me tell you, what's even sweeter than free money is money that you earn by working. So a few things to show off here. Number one, Bonefeed has got a lovely $700 bounty for any dev. You don't need to know any Rust to be able to do this. Just JavaScript and Python. Go check this out on earn.superteam.fun. Parcel, who we just heard from, the homies, if you were inspired by that vision from Will, go join them. They are paying front-end engineers very well. Of course, you're going to need to be top class to get that job, but please do get involved there. And then the head of BD at Phantom paying almost $250,000 for the right person. So if you know somebody who is right for this job, Colin in the chat just says, damn, in all caps. You own and develop their partnership strategy. It is a great opportunity. Obviously, people know Phantom. Go check that out. Player1taco.soul says, that is me. And maybe it is. And lastly, really excited to say that Super Team is partnering with Circle. You might have heard of USDC once or twice, with a new grants program. For a micro grants program, our Insta grants, normal style, 15 minutes to apply. Get an answer within 72 hours for anyone who's building open source projects that meaningfully improve financial inclusion or help increase USDC ownership. So go check that out. Also on earn.superteam.fun. And just in general, if you're a project and you have some work on your roadmap, you have some open GitHub issues, maybe you need some design work done, a new landing page, marketing campaigns, Twitter threads, go use Super Team Earn, join the fun. Everyone else is already doing it. It is scientifically guaranteed to give you clear skin. If you like my skin, it is because I use Super Team Earn every day. So go check that out. And really, I got to say lastly, thanks for joining. It has been a very fun one. I'm going to stick around for a little bit. If people want to talk and groove, I'll play some music. We'll have some fun. Pratik Dolani just put in the link for the recap call or recap thread as well. So don't forget about that. But we are out for today. This is the team. Teamwork makes the dream work. Big shout out to Srijani, who's on this call, who does just the Lord's work in putting this together. Yash, who does the design. Yaros, who did that meme video with Mr. Beast and is overall awesome. So please do thank all of them. And thank you all for coming out. It was a pleasure to have you. We'll see you next month, same time, same place for the next one. Thank you very much, everybody.